Okay, I didn't know you stole this.
Yeah, I stole it.
You just admitted to the camera.
Don't let UT Austin see this. Hi, I'm Sandy. I'm 28. I live here in Brooklyn and I'm a copywriter and strategist.
Hi, I'm Marin. I'm a designer living in Brooklyn, and this is our home. Oh, I'm 32. What year is it?
I've always loved writing. Ever since I was young, I loved journaling and I loved reading, and my dad would take me and my brother to the public library every weekend, so we would just read a lot. And then once I started college, I remember taking an introduction to pop culture advertising class, and that kind of got me interested in bringing together writing and history and culture and how it affects society and business, and that's kind of what got me interested in it.
I just kind of picked up a pencil and just started making pictures to entertain myself. Growing up, I didn't really have a TV at the beginning, and so I just found it as a mode of entertainment and the fascination of how things work and taking things apart. I didn't know before that would take me towards design, but that's kind of how I started, following that curiosity of how does this go together, how does this motor spin, balancing design and also illustrating. So finding the way they merge has been kind of like my fascination.
Our kitchen is one of my favorite parts of the place. It was actually a big reason why we went with this apartment. This one's a little bit chaotic, but this is our spices and all of our condiments and everything. So this one's our favorite olive oil, and they have a restaurant too that we really like. I just got these little dark chocolate snacking because I love having chocolate just in the kitchen for whenever I'm craving something sweet.
Fennel seed.
We're almost out.
And we've been using it in several of the dishes that we've been preparing, and it adds a lot of depth. Let's bring them out.
These are our favorite chips.
So these Vista Hermosa Totopos are so good for ceviche and chilaquiles. And I think they're local actually. They're made here in New York or something.
And there's jam.
My friend made that jam. It's so good.
Yeah. And we should bring it down.
Yeah, we should bring it down. We're just trying to finish the last one.
Yeah. And I also realized that jarring things is very important to me, and having granola out and oatmeal and like seeing everything is just makes it easier to be able to just use these things because I don't want them to get lost in the pantry. We're on our third jar now, but this salsa matcha, we put it on everything, like eggs, tacos, pizza, just everything. So this is our prized possession in this fridge, and I made agua de Jamaica, so we've been drinking a lot of that too.
The world's hottest hot sauce. It's insanely hot.
Yeah, like you only want a dot of that.
I'm surprised it hasn't melted through the glass.
The hot ones,
the hot ones challenge.
Yeah.
We bought the whole box, and yeah.
Then we did it. We like made wings and
it was
did it.
very
And
fun.
I thought I was gonna cry by the end. Now we make coffee every morning, but before doing that, usually I'll go walk Noguchi and I'll do like a little Pilates workout, and sometimes Aaron will do like a yoga workout in the morning, but most of the time we do that separately. And then once we're done with all that, we come to the kitchen and we make coffee, and we usually always have eggs, and that's usually our morning routine. I try to do a little bit of reading too before I start working.
Since our trip to Italy, it became kind of like a staple of the morning ritual.
Because we used to not be coffee people. We would just make tea.
It's like a thread that connects the day-to-days.
Specifically in the mocha pot.
I
to
think
make
it's
our
also
coffee.
interesting, like the way it brews coffee.
Yeah.
It's almost magical.
Yeah.
In a way, and I think that's what reinforces that habit. My friend got this for a white elephant, and he forgot it at the white elephant party, and then they brought it, and he forgot it again here.
So now it's just ours. Now
now
we've just been eating the cherries.
Yeah, it's so good. That's the kitchen.
Yeah. So this is our little dining nook. It's small, but I think we've made it work. I love the brick wall. It just adds warmth. Like I feel like I'm in a little coffee shop, and we're kind of embracing the smallness. So we got a little bench. We have our Noguchi lamp that we got off of eBay. But I think what really put the space together was finally hanging a photograph that my friend took when she went to go visit us in Mexico City, and it's one of my favorite pieces of art that we have hanging on our wall. I recently bought a huge pack of like library card stationery, and I've been using it to write my grocery list just because I've found a lot of pleasure in just handwriting my grocery list. And I think it also acts as memorabilia too, because I'm able to look back and see like, oh, on December 10th, I bought sesame seeds and chives. So it's nice to look back to that, and it looks nice hanging up. This is one of my favorite bookshelves in the house. For example, here are all our books on like wellness and yoga and like mindfulness. Here we have actually some rare manga books that we got at an antiquarian book fair.
It was a really cool find, and the guy who we bought it from was really annoyed.
Yeah.
And which makes him such a great bookseller.
Yeah, he was such a good bookseller.
He's like, let me read. Like, yes, buy them and
yeah, just go.
Just go.
This is a little horse, but it's a matchbook holder, and so there are vintage matches inside. So it's one of my favorite little knickknacks. Pepper here, like a paperweight, a little skull, and then this little bust, I've had it since I was in college. I stole it from the art building's prop closet, and I just kept it ever since. I love referring to these cookbooks whenever I'm in like a cooking rut, and so it's nice to have the collection of cookbooks here.
It's one of the most random books that I have, but someone spent so much time in research categorizing all the kinds of knots that are possible. And I just find it so fascinating. Look, I'm already starting to like bookmark it.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
The Mexico cookbook. The Mexico cookbook is a must.
In terms of sentimental value, my neighbor gave me this book. When I first got my Noguchi, I had written a note because Noguchi was barking a lot.
He was
but
a puppy.
She left me a very sweet note behind here. Very sweet, so I would definitely rescue that one. This one, because Sandy gave me this book, is the collections of the designs of Alvar Aalto, my spiritual grandfather.
This is my little study. I like to display certain books, like I switch them out every once in a while. This book, I've had it for 3 years and I haven't read it yet, so that's why I have it here to remind me that I need to read it. I have this cool almanac for New York City, and I love almanacs. They usually have just like very weird information around like farming and astrology and fun facts, and so I love almanacs. Yeah, I just have so many books here. I'm trying to also do a little bit more like arts and crafts. For example, here I have some color pencils, like crayons, scissors, just like tape. That way it's there and I'm reminded that I have art supplies, because most of the time they're locked up in a closet and I don't look at them, and so I don't get to use them. There's a lot of poetry books, there's some design books at the bottom, fiction books. Oh, these are more like classic literature books. Books on like love and psychology. And then, oh, this is one of my favorites. We live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of children, and so I found these on the street and I was so excited to get these because these were my absolute favorites. So now I have the whole box collection of these books. And this is a painting that my friend gave me. We're both from Texas, and so it's a little painting of Whataburger, and it's like a little fast food chain. This is Aaron's camera, but he has it here. It's a Hasselblad, and we've been taking a lot of portraits of our dog with it, and so we have a lot of nice vintage looking photos of Noguchi now. This is such an important little journal. This one in particular is called the Book of Moments. And this one is a joint journal that me and Aaron have that we write in whenever something significant happens in our life, whether it's an interesting travel story, a really good meal that we had. We got it in Florence from this little like leather journal shop, and we've been filling it up with just like significant memories. And so here, yeah, it says on February 20th, 2023, we named this the Book of Moments. I also just have some of my favorite postcards here. I like to collect different postcards from museums, and I don't know why this is up here. It's just a pharmacy receipt. I don't know how it ended up here. And then this is a calendar from my other friend who has a art series called And It Will Never Be Again, where she'll talk about like, oh, today's February 10th and it will never be again. And so she had a calendar, and every day I write something that brought me joy that day. I just started doing it last month. Bought a standing desk so that I could stand more throughout the day, and I'm still not standing more throughout the day. So that's something that's like in the back of my mind that I need to do a little bit more of. Actually, Aaron can speak to this right here. You have a story.
I think I was coming back from a walk with Noguchi, and I came across a bunch of different books, and among those books there was this frame. So I took it and I brought it and I gave it to Sandy. I was like, here, this is yours, and she loved it, so she hung it. But it's just so well done. And
his eyebrows.
His eyebrows are, they're just wild. I have all kinds of different books, just things that are fascinating me at the moment. There's a book here about designing with sound, designing with animation, just a bunch of different things. I tried to do something with this corner, but it really just became this like chaotic storage space. I have to talk about this Elon Musk bust. I got this for a white elephant gift. My friend made it. Noguchi barks at it. I don't think he likes Elon very much. One of my favorite bookshelves, because it has all the books that I absolutely love, and this one is one of my favorites. It's called The Book of Disquiet. This is a first edition, currently reading Design for the Real World. It's usually on my nightstand, but today I put it here because I wanted to share it with you. It's basically a bunch of different public announcements, and the typography is just absolutely beautiful. The person who sold us this, she was a very good sales person. We were planning to just get one, but we ended up coming out with like 7. This is the 6 different parts of the mind that cognitive scientists who wrote a book designing for how people think. This quote came from watching The Bear. I think about this place as almost like a kitchen, right? And so I put that on here. Rebirth is painful. It's a quote from a film called Seconds. And these are the quotes that I wrote down, and I tried to write them in the dark because I was at the Nighthawk Theater. But I like this, Rebirth is painful. And this is a card that Sandy got at the Met, and we used to share spaces. This was one of the things that made it from that time that we were sharing our studies. Oh, and then I didn't even get to show you this. I have these mantras that I have here. I think the act of not second guessing, taking something that's just a thought and putting it on paper is like the first step in allowing your curiosity to guide you and not holding anything back. My old sketchbooks, like ranging from the past 10 years, are in here. Some sketches here that I made while I was in Florence. Drawing of Noguchi, drawing Sandy. One of my favorite though is just like people having conversations. Like this was outside of a bar in Florence. And then this was one of my favorites. I drew this lady with a very interesting hairdo. I had started, but then I erased it. I don't know why. I think I just didn't like it. Chef. And then like this random one. Man, he's got such a great face. And I had to draw him. Another person in Rome talking on the phone. This guy was the taxi driver that drove us to the Da Vinci airport as we were leaving to go back to the States. I was trying to capture it and I didn't. And in frustration, I just like tried to capture movements, and I think there's something there. Definitely would like to explore it more. I have like a collection of Codex bookmarks. It's a website that we launched last year where we curate books for people, and we make recommendations and give a spotlight, a moment to works that otherwise you wouldn't find unless you knew someone in that field. This is a very cool book that we got from Mexico City. It just highlights the construction of well-known chairs. Just shows you how things are made, which kind of ties back to that thing that got me into design in the first place. Oh, this is interesting. You might appreciate this. I actually got this book for Sandy, and then it somehow made it to my bookshelf here. Back in the day, people would put these labels on the books that they owned, or libraries would do it as well. I think it's just a great example of the way books used to function more as jewels, and that not everybody had access to. It's similar to technology in a way. There's this inherent luxury about it. And I think it's cool that books used to be in that category. So this is another one too that I got from Florence. I think 200 of these were made. So this is like a limited edition. But look at these drawings. They're absolutely beautiful. It's an architect who would just draw parts of the city. I'll show you one more. The ability to take a pencil and articulate reality with light and shadow is one of those things that has kept me fascinated ever since I started picking up a pencil. And so I love to keep those around just as a reminder that there is still more to achieve.
The most important part of this house is Noguchi.
Oh my gosh.
This is Noguchi. He's named after Isamu Noguchi, the sculptor. And yeah, we love him.
He's the best guy ever. It was really fun.
Yeah, this was really fun and
sharing.
And it's nice to think about the objects in your space that like bring you joy, and just thinking about the story behind them, and just like how important it is to take your time putting together your space with things that are meaningful and not rushing into it, you know?
Yeah, I'd like to think that every object has a purpose.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was so much fun.